Hi, I'm Reagan Gorham, and this is Hunter Fultz. And we're here to talk about the Genius Hour project that I'm sure you've all heard about by now. We're here with Mrs. Newland, who did her own Genius project over the summer, and it was a mosaic, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a mosaic. And I'm really excited to tell you guys how I got to creating this.
So, why did you decide to do a Genius Hour project over the summer?
Well, first, when I heard that the kids at our middle school were going to be able to do a Genius Hour, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. You mean kids get to actually come up with their own question and learn about what they want to learn about? I thought it was so neat that I was like, I want to do my own this summer. I want to learn about something that I've never done before.
Yeah, I think I did this a little in elementary school, though it was an independent project, and I didn't really get to work on it that much because obviously the schedule is a lot different there than here, but I'm hoping here I will be able to work on mine a lot and continuously and get it finished.
Right, and this is going to be a neat opportunity for many kids. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, and all the projects aim to answer questions. So what question did you want the answer to with your project?
Well, with my Genius Hour project, I was thinking, okay, what do I love doing? And there are a couple things I like doing. I like baking, I like traveling, spending time with family and dogs. But so I was thinking about traveling, and I was remembering that going through Greece and Turkey and Italy and Portugal, something that I fell in love with were these ancient mosaics. They're these gorgeous, pieces of art that were made out of these little stones or glass, and I loved them. And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool to take the time to learn about the history behind them and exactly how they're made? So those are my two questions. I wanted to learn about the history of ancient mosaics, and then I wanted to learn about the techniques and methods of how to make them.
Mm-hmm. So how long did it take?
It took a long time, okay? I'm not going to lie. But it was the coolest learning process. It started from the very end of school when they told us we were doing a Genius Hour project, the end of May, and then I actually completed it. It was about the end of July. So it took a long time, and there were a huge amount of steps in between. I had 15 different steps, and one of the steps took a week to do. But every step along the way, every time I got something done with it, I was just so proud. I couldn't wait to tell my husband, look what I did this week. So it's a really cool process.
So what kinds of resources did you use for your project?
Okay, so I also wanted to do the Genius Hour as an example to the kids this year as well. So I wanted to make sure that I tried to do things as low cost as I possibly could because, when you're doing Genius Hour, you do not have to spend money on it. So what I first did was I looked at websites. I looked at blogs of people who have done mosaics before, and then I also, of course, went to my local library to see what they had, and they actually had a lot of great resources. Those are the resources I used.
So, I don't even know if I've created anything like a mosaic before. Did you encounter any setbacks? Did you mess up? What were the roadblocks?
Definitely had mess ups, definitely had roadblocks. The thing that I continue to remember that's really important for you guys to remember too when you guys are doing your project is it is not going to be perfect. And it's good to make mistakes and go through that process because you end up learning so much. So, when I do have my next question, or if I try to create another mosaic, I'm going to learn so much from those mistakes that I made the first time. I'll give you guys some examples. Now, some people might look at this and be like, oh, that looks really cool. It's definitely not perfect, though. I don't know if you guys can feel, there's a little divot in here. You can feel it if you want.
You can kind of
I can see it now.
Okay, yeah. Once I pointed it out, well, that was because when I was taking the mesh of tiles and adhering it to this board, I squeezed a little bit too hard there. Okay, so I learned that mistake. I definitely don't want to do that again. on the back, you can see there's holes here.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was nailing this contraption on, I started out and I nailed it too high. And if I would have kept it there, then you would have seen these up at the top. So all these, and I made mistakes while cutting it too. When I first started cutting these pieces of glass, they would actually more shatter instead of having a clean line. So as I kept going, I learned from my mistakes and then became an even better cutter of tiles. So expect that you are going to make mistakes, and it's a good thing.
And it looks great. Like I never
Thanks.
noticed any of those things that you just said. So
I will tell you that when I completely finished this, I mean, I was proud of myself all the whole time, each step. But when I finished this, I felt like I could accomplish anything. Like I felt like, because I never would have thought I would have made that before. So I just became super confident and really proud of myself.
Did you use any inspiration from what you saw when you're traveling for this?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have some pictures here that you can see. Here's me looking at an ancient mosaic. This was actually in Italy, and I just loved how shiny it was. So that's why when I created my own, I wanted to have glass. The glass is what makes it shiny and makes it reflect light. And I also loved, if you can see here, I love the gold that is in this mosaic. And I was not going to buy real gold tiles. That's way too expensive. So I got the cheapest option that I could, but it looks like gold. It's not real.
I noticed that a lot of the colors in the pictures that you showed us were similar to the ones on your project. So did that have a connection?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely took pictures of things that I thought were beautiful, and I wanted to create something that would be beautiful in the end. So it's really important that when you're doing your Genius Hour project that you collect things of inspiration, that you find things that intrigue you and interest you, and they are going to keep you wanting to do your Genius Hour project. I know some kids might start a project and maybe they lose interest. If you have all these things to guide you and interest you and make you passionate about it, then it's going to help you be excited about your project.
Did you follow a specific style? Did you get your inspiration with maybe the spacing or the shapes style of art you saw?
One of the things that I really liked in the art that I saw was the double frame. And so the double layered frame. So that's why I did that here. So I definitely took inspiration from what I saw, but I did my own thing. And you'll notice that in comparison to the pictures, this one's really simple. And that's important when you guys are doing your Genius Hour project, that when you are planning and preparing for what you want to do for your Genius Hour project, that you make sure that it's something that you would be able to do. I couldn't expect myself to create something like this. The main thing is I wanted to learn the technique. So I made sure that the first thing that I created was more simple.
So what's your next question that you want answered?
My next question, I definitely want to continue with this, but my next question would be, in a lot of the mosaics that I saw, let me see if I can find you guys a picture.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, and there's a lot of math that goes into creating these, and that's the reason why they're so beautiful to the eye. Is there's actually geometry in there. You guys are taking geometry this year, right?
Exactly.
So I want to learn about the mathematical equations and the math behind what makes this art beautiful, because I want to apply that and make something beautiful like this myself.
So I know you touched on this a little bit, but did you ever lose interest in your project? Because I mean, I kind of have a short attention span when it comes to projects, and I frequently lose interest in things.
This took a while, so.
So I'd like some advice.
I would say to make sure that when you're thinking about what you want to do for your project, and remember, your project does not have to cost money. Like if you created your own video game, there are plenty of programs online that you could use that are free of charge. So don't think that it has to cost money. It definitely doesn't. That's just, I chose to do this. But what I would do is when planning out your project, I would take your time really, really thinking about what you really want to do. And if you take your time and really think and come up with something that you've always wanted to learn about, you are going to be passionate about it and be so excited to complete it. And the thing is with this project, you are actually going to show kids, you're going to show an audience what you learned in the process. So you are going to have that accountability where at the end of it, you get to show it off. So you're going to want to finish it, definitely.
I've got a question, like, just for the people who do not like presentations, how many people are you going to show it to? Like,
that's
what's
a good
the audience?
question. We're going to get to that later, and you're actually
Okay.
going to find more information about that soon. So we'll let you know soon.
So, like, what kinds of projects can students do other than, like you said, like the video game and stuff like that?
It is really endless. Like, it is infinity, the amount of different questions you can have. For example, if you love video games, go ahead, create your own, you know? But don't think that you're going to create something that you could buy in a store. You want to start more simple first. If you want to write a collection of poems, you could do that. If you want to write a novel, if you want to do something art-related, like I did. I did kind of history and art, but you get to come up with your own questions. So that's why it's totally unlimited what you could do for your Genius Hour project.
So, what was a typical day with your Genius Hour project at home? Like, I know in the summer, like, I slept in a lot and would probably not have the time in my day to do a Genius Hour project or be motivated to do a Genius Hour project.
Well, you guys are actually going to be working on your Genius Hour project during the IE period, so it's a beautiful thing where you have this set amount of time to work on it. Each day looked completely different as to what I did. There was when I was actually cutting the mosaic tile pieces, the glass. That took like a whole week. So that week looked pretty similar, like cutting the glass. But every day will probably look a little bit different. But it's important that you plan it out well, and that each day you write down what you accomplished. Be proud of yourself, and then the next day you know what you need to work on next.
There's like a lot of steps and like there's a process for yours and probably not just yours, like a lot of different
everyone's.
projects.
Everybody's project is going to have a process. So it's really important that you plan it out and that you write down all the different steps. And you also need to think about like what barriers or things that you might run into so that you can make sure that you get across those.
Problem solving.
So,
Absolutely.
what is your next project? What do you think it'll look like? Will it be like bigger, more colorful, or will it be like more complicated?
I definitely want to make it more complicated. My main goal was to learn about the technique, and next time I definitely want to get more creative, like create some different sketches, maybe even do like some type of scene, like a nature scene. So I'm excited to show you guys when that's done.
So, I know your mosaic definitely had materials that you would have to go out and buy, and would all Genius projects cost money?
Absolutely not. There is an unlimited amount of things that you can do that doesn't cost money. You guys are going to have or will have your Chromebooks by then. And so the internet is an amazing resource where you can learn so many different skills without having to buy anything.
Let's say that you did want to do something like a mosaic, which required like money or things to buy, and how would you go about that?
Well, if there was something that you needed to buy, that would be something that you'd have to talk to your parents about.
Okay.
But everybody could do something that was completely free. But if you decided you talk to your parents, you're like, oh, this is something I really want to learn about, and they're okay with buying you stuff for it, then that would be okay.
Yeah, I feel like you could do like anything. Like you could find a way to make it your own by doing it. Like you could do a mosaic out of like paper. You could cut like paper and put it on different colored piece, and it could be like a junior mosaic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can do paper, you can do beads, you could take like some pottery that your parents didn't want anymore and like smash it up and use that. So yeah, possibilities are endless.
If there's resources in the school that the school has, like in the computer lab or art room, etc., can you use that, or like who would you ask?
That'd be a really good question. I would talk to the teacher that has those resources and ask them if it's a possibility.
Yeah, would they be likely to let you access, since it is like a genius project? As long as what you're doing is like, school appropriate.
You definitely ask and see what they say, and be nice, of course. When
Yeah.
You ask.
And what like starting advice would you give to anyone who's like want to start a big genius project?
First of all, get really excited about it, because it's something that you get to make up. You come up with the question. You show, how you want to present what you've learned. It doesn't have to be an actual physical project like this. It could be like a web page or a presentation or something like that. And I'd really, really think about what you've always wanted to learn about or do. And here, the middle school is giving you this time, so definitely take advantage of it.
I feel inspired.
Good, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
It was a really cool thing, and I'm so glad that I did it, and I'm really excited for you guys to go through the process. You're going to learn about yourself, and you're going to learn something really cool that you've always wanted to.
Thank you for sitting and listening to this. I hope it was helpful.